Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a shocking development in the Middle East that has captured global attention. Reports are emerging that Egypt has launched bombers against Israel, striking military bases and leaving parts of the region in flames. This situation is escalating quickly, and the world is watching closely as tensions between the two nations reach dangerous new levels. For decades, Egypt and Israel have had a complicated relationship, defined by both conflict and uneasy peace. The 1979 Camp David Accords marked the first peace agreement between Israel and an Arab country, but beneath the surface, tensions have always lingered. Issues of territory security and regional influence never fully disappeared. This latest attack shows how fragile that peace truly was, and how quickly things can unravel in the volatile Middle East. According to initial reports, Egyptian Air Force bombers carried out precision strikes on several Israeli military installations. The strikes targeted bases in the southern and central regions, focusing on air defense systems, supply depots, and command centers. Eyewitnesses described massive fireballs lighting up the night sky as explosions rocked the bases. Israeli emergency services rushed to the scene as military personnel scrambled to assess the damage. The scale of the attack has stunned observers. Egypt is one of the most powerful militaries in the Arab world, and its ability to project force across the border into Israel demonstrates both its intent and its capability. The decision to use bombers suggests careful planning and coordination, not just a spontaneous strike. Analysts believe the targets were chosen to weaken Israel's ability to respond quickly, striking at the heart of its defensive infrastructure. Israel, of course, is not likely to take this lightly. The Israeli Defense Forces are among the most advanced militaries in the world, equipped with cutting-edge technology, missile defense systems, and battle-hardened troops. Within hours of the attack, Israel vowed retaliation, signaling that this may be the beginning of a larger conflict. Already, fighter jets and artillery units have been placed on high alert along the border, and intelligence units are monitoring Egypt's next moves. The big question is, why now? Some experts suggest that Egypt is reacting to recent Israeli actions in the region, perhaps linked to the situation in Gaza or disputes over natural gas fields in the Mediterranean. Others point to long-standing political tensions, arguing that domestic pressures within Egypt may have pushed the leadership toward a show of strength. Military action can sometimes serve as a distraction from internal problems, but it carries enormous risks, especially when aimed at Israel. The international community has reacted with alarm. The United States, which has strong ties with both Egypt and Israel, has called for immediate restraint. Washington is deeply concerned that this conflict could spiral out of control, dragging in other regional powers like Iran, Turkey, and even Gulf states. The European Union and United Nations have also urged diplomacy, but as of now, the situation remains unpredictable. Meanwhile, scenes from Israel paint a grim picture. Flames engulfed parts of the bombed bases, and thick black smoke filled the skies. Soldiers worked tirelessly to contain the damage and rescue trapped comrades. Families of military personnel waited anxiously for news, while civilians living near the bases were advised to take shelter in case of further strikes. The psychological impact of seeing Egyptian bombers striking Israeli soil cannot be overstated. It marks one of the most significant escalations in the region in decades. On the Egyptian side, state media has portrayed the operation as a defensive response, claiming Israel had crossed red lines. Official statements argue that Egypt acted to protect its sovereignty and security interests, though no specific incidents have been cited to justify the sudden escalation. This framing is critical as it attempts to rally domestic support and present Egypt not as the aggressor, but as a nation standing up to what it views as Israeli provocation. Regional analysts are already comparing this situation to past wars, particularly the Yom Kippur War of 1973, when Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Israel. That conflict reshaped Middle Eastern politics and eventually paved the way for peace agreements, but not before costing thousands of lives. The fear today is that a new war could be even deadlier, given the advanced weaponry and volatile alliances now in play. Technology has also changed the battlefield. Israel's Iron Dome system is designed to intercept rockets and missiles, but bomber attacks present a different challenge. Precision-guided munitions, dropped from aircraft, are harder to stop, especially if launched in waves. The success of Egypt's initial strikes raises questions about Israel's vulnerability and whether its defenses can withstand a prolonged campaign. Public opinion within both nations is heating up. In Israel, anger and fear are spreading, with calls for strong retaliation. Many Israelis feel this attack is a direct assault on their sovereignty and security, demanding a response that will deter further aggression. In Egypt, crowds have taken to the streets, celebrating the strikes, framing them as a powerful stand against Israeli dominance. This surge of nationalism complicates the possibility of immediate negotiations, as both governments face pressure from their populations to stay firm. Economically, the conflict could have far-reaching consequences. Most global markets are sensitive to instability in the Middle East, particularly in energy supplies. Any disruption to trade routes or oil and gas production in the region could send prices soaring worldwide. Already, investors are watching nervously as uncertainty builds. For ordinary people in Egypt and Israel, the cost of war would not just be measured in lives, but also in economic hardship, inflation, and disrupted livelihoods. The broader Middle East is also watching carefully. Iran, long hostile to Israel, may see this as an opportunity to expand its influence by supporting Egypt politically or militarily. Gulf states, many of which have recently improved ties with Israel, are caught in a difficult position, balancing new alliances with old loyalties. Turkey, too, could play a role depending on how the conflict evolves. The danger is that this bilateral clash could quickly become a regional war involving multiple players. As the dust settles from the first wave of strikes, all eyes are now on Israel's response. Will it launch massive airstrikes against Egyptian military sites? Will it target infrastructure deep inside Egypt? Or will it hold back, giving diplomacy a chance to intervene? Each option carries heavy consequences, and miscalculations could ignite a conflict far bigger than either side originally intended. In times like this, history offers a sobering lesson. Wars are easier to start than to stop. The Egyptian strikes have set events in motion that may be difficult to reverse. Even if cooler heads prevail, the trust between Israel and Egypt has been shattered, and rebuilding it will take years, if not decades. The Middle East is once again on the brink, and the world is watching with concern, hoping for peace, but preparing for the possibility of another devastating war. That's all for today's breakdown of this developing situation. Stay tuned as we continue to monitor updates, provide analysis, and help make sense of the events shaping our world. If you found this discussion informative, don't forget to subscribe for more insights and share your thoughts in the comments below.